Hello everybody and welcome back. It's me, it's Malcolm, and today I'm sure this video is gonna be long because I took a lot of notes. I had to make sure I summarized in a way that made sense if you didn't know the situation. If you're already familiar or if you need a break here and there, I will leave some timestamps of certain areas that I will be talking about. So if you would like to jump around or if you just want to look at a certain part and see my thoughts on that, I'm already showing it to you right now, so I'll give you a second to do that. Are you ready? Let's do this. Now if you're lost, let me give you a head start. This whole video premise is from a YouTuber named Swoop, who released a video called How Glam&Gore Used James Charles, Jeffree Star, and Black Community, Why I'm Done with Mykie with Receipts. And this will be like the last time you'll see my face for a while because I have a lot to read and it's going to be kind of boring if you just see my eyes looking up the screen for like the next 10 to 15 minutes. I actually don't know how long this video might be. Please watch the whole thing so you kind of get the full context of everything. I will see you soon. Now this video is going to talk about racism heavy, so be prepared for that. When I talk about racism, there are actually three types of racist people that I have encountered in my life. You have the blatant racist that obviously does not care about anyone's well-being but the white man. You can usually spot them a mile away because they seldom hide it. You have people like Mongo who refuse to admit they are microaggressive unless they are called out on a big platform. I call them the racist apologist, where they want to be racist in peace and not be held accountable for it. Then you probably have the second worst kind of racist, where they truly, and I mean truly, try to make them seem like their life is so much harder than minorities and really try to make themselves a victim of race when they cannot be. The last one I just talked about, we're talking about today. Just some trigger warnings. We are going to be discussing racism, prejudice against the LGBT plus community, gaslighting, narcissism, using people such as James Charles, Jeffree Star, and Gabby Hanna, and lastly, assault. In the beginning of Swoop's video, she gives the definition of microaggression, which is everyday verbal, nonverbal insults which come off as hostile, derogatory prejudices aimed at marginalized groups. Now, if you've been on this channel, and I'm talking about my channel right now, if you've been on this channel for a while, you know I have covered Mongo, who has also used microaggression towards both Colin Berry and Simply Nessa, thus creating probably the worst apology on YouTube of all time so far. Swoop, of course, does go into details about how her and this Mykie person did have a friendship for a while, have been on each other's channels, but of course, as we all know now, that it's all went south. Swoop claims that Mykie would ask her to lie and cover things up constantly as their friendship grew, resulting in Swoop then distancing herself so she would not get caught up more, including someone Mykie was dating at the time. I can't remember who the name of the person was, but Swoop claims that Mykie also asked her to lie to that person as well. Swoop, near the beginning of the video, showed text of all these different content creators that Mykie has talked ill of. So, as you can see, this Mykie person has a lot of gripes with these YouTubers. I don't really know what her overall issue is. If you don't like someone that much, I don't understand why you would then work with them in the future. We're gonna get to that very, very soon. And then Swoop then shows in her video as well a toxic conversation about James Charles yet again, where Swoop does admit she was in the wrong for engaging in that toxic conversation. So I'm just gonna put it up here where Swoop says, "Such slime How does he not get caught out for this stuff? And now you gotta take from a child. This kid didn't even go there to be filmed. He just wanted to sing. And Walmart posted the first clip. Well, it's clear he wasn't being shy. It was a recreation since he tagged Walmart. But it's a half-a acknowledgement because he's too mature to give a kid credit. That he'd sooner credit a company like Walmart than the boy. Effing exactly. The kid got 2 million IG followers from it. James is probably jealous. This, like I said, I don't know what this Mykie's deal is. As we get further into this video, you're going to see that it's more so the beauty guru community that she has an issue with. Seems like she's more so jealous. This was more so shocking than anything that it's 2020 and people still have this mentality. It's more so scary than anything. She was saying such things as this wasn't so popular to get offended by a year ago. Basically, she was saying the cultural appropriation thing really wasn't a big deal until people made it a big deal. But my thing is, if it's been a problem before, it's always been a problem. So I don't understand that argument that, well, people weren't offended by it. No, people probably did say anything, you just chose not to listen. And then this is where I really lost it, and this is why I had to talk about this today. Swoop then pulls out another tweet from 2015 where the problematic Mykie began in terms of the timeline, where she tweets the following saying, "I've had several women of color tell me they don't want me to help them at MAC because I'm white and can't help them." Followed that tweet by saying, "You're saying whites can't experience it. I'm telling you I have." I'm gonna read that again. "You're saying whites can't experience it, but I'm telling you I have." I don't get the notion of these racist white people thinking that they can be oppressed when they cannot be oppressed. White people legit cannot experience racism. It's a historical fact that white people have used racism to their advantage ever since the slavery days. Because black people like myself still get looked at different. Black people like myself still do not get a fair chance, and we're automatically stereotyped because of the color of our skin, to the point where society really tries to decide your future for you if you are black. Especially if they think because of how you look, you're not going to be as successful. This is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman. Just think about that for a second. A blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman saying that women of color are being racist against her. They really will say, and I'm talking about the fan base now, the fan base will really say that, well, it happened years and years ago, just let it go. Let me tell you something right now. And I'm gonna bring up something that might be a little triggering, but let's say you murdered somebody 10 years ago, right? So you murdered someone 10 years ago, you cut their body, you moved on with your life, you have a loving family, kids are in school, you're doing everything right in the community, but guess what? When you get arrested for that murder and you go into court, you will still get convicted because you cannot just erase your past. You also cannot run from your past. You still have to be held accountable for the things you said in your past. Because you can't just sit in the courtroom and say, well, I'm a different person now, can I go home? They're never gonna say, yeah, you can go home because you're a great person now and we see that you're the good person now. At the end of the day, you still need to be held accountable for your actions or things you have said back then. And then this is something that's really sickening and something that shocked me personally. This Mykie person has done Rihanna-inspired makeup tutorials, but based on her getting hit by Chris Brown like it was a good idea. She really did a whole makeup look based on when Chris Brown beat Rihanna. That is next level disgusting. I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm disgusted. She also did a dedicated makeup look to an Asian man that was beat up on an American Airlines flight by authorities. Again, I really don't understand what's so trendy about tragic things that have happened to people and making them into a makeup look. Like, why? What was the reason for really, making yourself look like Rihanna when she got beat by Chris Brown? I don't understand what went through your head for that, but that's disgusting. Now that we've gotten part 1 out the way, we are now in part 2, where we're really going to talk about James Charles, Jeffree Star, and just the gaslighting when it comes to the black community, the LGBTQ plus community. So here we go, y'all. During some time, Swoop created a new YouTube channel because her old YouTube channel seemed to be so toxic, full of people that were so incredibly racist and told her to do these incredibly racist things. They told her to bleach herself. They threatened to kill her. They threatened to lynch her. So she created a whole new channel, which Swoop then says she sent the screenshots and all these disgusting things to Mykie to basically tell her that these things are going on. So Swoop is working on this new channel, working on it for a lot of hours, and she sends a text message about how she's been feeling, saying the following: "Sorry, hardcore lapsed back into my depression yesterday and took some stuff out that knocked me out, flat toe now." Followed that by saying, "Most of my life has been convinced of how worthless I am. The last 2 years summed up. Crying or throwing up on a floor somewhere. Yesterday triggered. Realized how monstrously unimproved I am. Don't know how to explain it in words. I guess to some sort of extent, it's being on the level of your successful, quote, successful peers, which I, for whatever reason, am not, but that's just part of it. I know how the hand is being a minority female. How this industry is classically set up to only allow a few minorities at the top of their game, and so there's general BS like that to cut it through somehow. But sometimes I'm at a loss, and am doing a terrible job of putting words to what's in my brain/heart. And this is where I completely lost it. So after Swoop really pours her heart out and talks about all these things that have been bothering her, Mykie responds. It's tough because from my perspective, I feel like you won't get handed stuff right now on YouTube specifically, unless you're a minority in some sense of the word, be it anything but white or part of the LGBT community. So if you didn't catch what she actually just said, the only way to get handouts on YouTube specifically is to be a member of the LGBT community, or you have to be a minority. She really just said, I want to say it one more time so you can understand what's so wrong about that. And if you don't know what's so wrong about that, this video is not for you. She really just said minorities and LGBT community members get handouts from YouTube. If we're going to talk about handouts, Mykie, Swoop actually proved it in her video. You have been trending at least 12 times in your YouTube career. The only way, and this is what I've seen personally, the only way a black, not even a black, a minority creator or a LGBT creator gets on trending at this point is to either do a comedy skit, especially for minorities like the black community like myself, do a sports video, or be in a sport video, or do music. That is the only way I have ever seen a minority on the trending page, unless you're Marquez Brownlee, who is a tech reviewer and he's on trending here and there. He's also heavily featured in YouTube Rewind sometimes, but at the end of the day, the representation on YouTube is mostly white. So this argument of, well, minorities and the LGBT community get a handout, that's kind of ridiculous. In another text, Mykie says the following: I'm just saying, to be honest, it's tough for me to weigh in with practical advice there because, from my own perspective, I feel the same thing from the opposite side. Just to let you know, this is textbook gaslighting. The fact that they think they can be oppressed because they are white is so inaccurate, and it is so sad. Now, this is the part where Swoop talks about James Charles and Jeffree Star and their successes and how Mykie felt about that. The text message read as such: where I look at two of the most controversial ever beauty gurus going rapidly, one of whom does content no better or more clever than my own and has less talent and does less of the work himself. Mykie is talking about James Charles here, and he still succeeds, most likely because the difference is that they are both gay men. Again, she thinks that because Jeffree Star and James Charles are gay, that they have handed success to them. This notion of I'm not getting enough seems to be Mykie's theme, where if somebody has more than her, she has to tear it down. I've seen her channel. Right now she has over 4 million subscribers on YouTube. I know getting subscribers is like one of the hardest things to do on YouTube. So to sound so ungrateful for what you have honestly isn't that surprising, because she's a privileged white woman basically trying to shove her privilege around, saying I deserve more because I feel I do more. That's kind of, I don't understand that. I don't understand that mindset. That's kind of gross to me. Then this Mykie person in the same conversation, it seems, brings up her friend whose name is Peter, who I'm going to talk about later because Peter comes later. She basically talks about this Peter guy who talks about how Hollywood is turning away white actors and it's being more so geared towards the minorities now. And thankfully Swoop pulled up the facts for me, so I really didn't have to look that hard. The first stat she pulls out is lead roles, which has 80.2% being white actors and 19.8% being literally everyone else. Literally, this chart is really white people versus everyone else. So keep this in mind. Then she pulls up the facts for directors, where directors make up 87.4% of the pie chart. And then 12.6% of Hollywood actors are minorities, everyone else. And then this one is kind of shocking. In terms of writing the movies, 92.2% are white, 7.8% is everyone else. And then the video goes on and on, showing more examples, more text, more gaslighting. Like, it's to the point where If I haven't said it now, please go look at Swoop's full video for context so you really get a full understanding of what the situation really is. Mykie also tried to say that James Charles was copying her video. However, Mykie is the one that actually copied a video. This YouTuber named Kenneth, he did a video on a treadmill. He was the only one who actually did this kind of video, and literally a month later Mykie releases the same kind of video. And then of course I think this Kenneth guy was actually trying to like be polite about it, because he did send a tweet at her basically saying, hey, see your video. And then Mykie then responds very narcissistic, and it's just in a gaslighting way, saying the following. She said, baby, you don't follow me, and that's totally cool, but if you did, you'd know I'm the first to give credit where credit is due when I'm recreating something. Except, even now, you still haven't given Kenneth credit. That's kind of weird. Is it because he's a gay black man and you have a problem with that? Seems kind of sus to me, Miss Mykie. In like June 2020, I feel like it was like the height of the Black Lives Matter movement. Everybody was protesting, everybody was in the streets. This white content creator who was blurred, because in Swoop's video they blurred them, basically talking about how much they've lost from speaking out about all the racial injustice and all the issues and wearing it like a badge of honor. And then Mykie then responds about how she's lost so many followers and she's so proud that she's lost so many followers. What makes that so weird and disgusting is Swoop actually pulls up the Social Blade, or where you can pull up the Instagram analytics, and actually she gained from saying things like that, which is not just virtue signaling, it's also performative activism. It's very disgusting that she really went to the lengths of saying, like, she lost so much, and when somebody called her out, she posted a screenshot and she blacked stuff out. It was just a whole thing, and it's just very disgusting to think about. So Swoop is obviously a content creator on YouTube, where she also does short films besides like her review videos and things like that. And she released this film called Unspoken, where Mykie does reach out to her, gives her compliments and things like that. However, during that same conversation, Mykie then makes it about herself on a day where Swoop makes this release of this beautiful film that actually means a lot to her. So Mykie is talking about beauty guru drama yet again, where she talks about how unfair things are for her. And then you see more text where Mykie actually does collab with James Charles and Jeffree Star, and you can actually just see the text where she's talking trash about James Charles during the time where she's supposed to be collabing with him. Also, I find it kind of weird that she just never wanted him on her channel, but she would gladly go on his channel and gain all types of clout off of it. But you feel like James Charles gets handouts, but yet you still go on his channel. I find that kind of weird. I find that kind of manipulative and abusive and disgusting, like big yuck. The same day, and I think what happened was Swoop didn't really go with what Mykie was saying, and Swoop kind of was on James Charles' side at this point with whatever it was. Mykie ended up ghosting her. Later down the road, I want to say like a month or two later, Swoop then puts out a tweet on Twitter saying that moment when you realize someone you thought was a good friend considers herself more valuable / worthwhile a person because she has a higher sub count than you. following that tweet by saying, "That moment when you realize you need to stick with some better quality friends." And of course, because Mykie likes to make things about herself, basically sends another text to Swoop yet again, saying, it was like a gaslighting text saying something along the lines of, "Sorry that the overlap in our audience has some speculating, but it makes me uncomfortable." Yeah, it makes you uncomfortable because it seems like the boot fits, but okay. Not everything is about you, Mykie. Literally everything in Swoop's life, it seems, Mykie tries to make it about her, which is so obsessive. That's, for one, that's really obsessive. That's really crazy to think about. And two, stop making everything about you. I don't understand why anytime she tweets something, I'm talking about Swoop now, I don't understand why anytime Swoop tweets something or says something, you instantly have to run to your phone and make sure it's not about you. It comes off like you're like trying to damage control something that doesn't exist. It just seems really, really obsessive. And then after Swoop didn't really do what Mykie wanted, she re-ghosted her. So basically, Mykie is playing this game of, I'm only gonna hit her up if she talks about me, which I thought you guys were best friends, but now you don't want to talk to her unless she does something for you. That sounds kind of disgusting to me. Swoop also recently released another film called Worthy, talking about her experience with racism. Talks about an experience with a white influencer whom she did not name, by the way. And then this Peter guy, he came back, y'all. This Peter guy then texts Swoop in a way that, if you look at the text, it seems that Mykie either told him to text her or she just did it herself just to see what Swoop would say. And if you look at the text, and I know this video is super, super long, so I'm not going to read it, but I will put it up for you somewhere on the screen. But if you look at the text, like, we've already read these kind of lines from Mykie when she texted Swoop like months before. So now it seems kind of weird that, yet again, Mykie seems to have made it about herself. Alright, we are in the home stretch. This is part 3, where I think everything hit that boiling point to where Swoop finally said enough is enough and she made her video. So if you made it this far, or if you just clicked to this part, welcome. This part of the video is going to get heavy because we do talk about assault, so please, if you're uncomfortable, it is perfectly fine to leave now. I appreciate you coming. But we are going to talk about Ron Jeremy, and if you don't know who Ron Jeremy is, all I can say is he used to be an entertainer for adults only, but he has since, I believe, been arrested for multiple counts of assault. And then Swoop does talk about her experience with Ron Jeremy and basically how she was one of his victims. And then Swoop, on the same day she talks about her assault, sends out the following tweet saying, "I'm tired of the continual excuses being made for people who use, abuse, manipulate, exploit, and harm other people, be it sexual assault, abuse, racism, or any form of oppression. Enough blaming the victim and allowing destructive people to move free without accountability. I'm done living in the shadows, hiding my voice for the sake of not conflicting with others' reputations. It's their shame, not mine." After this tweet, and the theme continues, Mykie magically decides that Swoop is someone worthy of texting again, where she talks about, hey, hope things have been going well, with everything going on, I know things are crazy, things of that nature, basically ignoring everything that's been happening in the pandemic, and basically ignoring all the texts that Swoop sent before that. So basically, again, it seems more so damage control, because she probably feels like something that Swoop said was about her. And again, I'm gonna say this again, Miss Mykie, not everything is about you. So that's the whole video. So after the video, a lot of content creators had something to say. I pulled up four, one being Trisha Paytas, another being Dustin Daly, Nick Snyder from The Viewer's Voice, and Colin Berry. So the first person I'm going to read is Trisha's response to this whole thing. Basically, Trisha said, Mykie is a... Yep, you can read that for yourself. That's the lowest type of scum on the internet. She mocked mental illness before, so it's no surprise. Stupid. Let's cancel these fakes. Those who seem the most perfect and PC are the evil rats behind closed doors. Dustin Daly right here saying, so we're really saying people are only successful because they're gay now? I see you, Glam&Gore. Got Nick Snyder. Oh, and Mykie is also homophobic. Quote, they are only successful because they are gay. Quote, yikes. And this is about the Instagram apology that I'm going to talk about in a second. Colin Berry says the following. That Instagram story apology did not go into detail about anything that Spanky mentioned in her video. It was a vague at best, and the first person that she should have reached out to was Spanky. Absolutely true, because Tana did the same thing where she put out an apology without talking to Colin or simply Nessa first. Period. Why do influencers apologize first to the audience and not the people they hurt? So I know what you're thinking. After this whole expose, how can Mykie possibly, and I mean possibly, like, come back for this? What could she say? Is she gonna say anything? Well, I've already talked about it. She made an apology on Instagram stories. So it seems like Mykie's goal is for everybody to just move on and forget, but I really think nobody's gonna want to work with her after this, and if they do, I don't know. Now we're at the part of the video where I turn my face cam back on and I talk to the person I've been talking about in the video directly. So here you go. Mykie, people like you, the type of racist who wants to be so badly oppressed, are so disgusting, and you are such an ungrateful person. The fact that you have so many subscribers and your main gripe is it seems like you wanted more, but you didn't appreciate the followers you already had. To complain about gays and minorities getting handouts because they are gay and minorities is a complete joke. I hope someone like you doesn't come back. I hope someone like you stays away. But you won't. Because like a lot of influencers that get caught up in things like this, you're going to wait a couple weeks, and then you're going to upload again like nothing happened. They all do it. It's like a pattern at this point. But you're a joke. Your apology was trash. You really treated Swoop like garbage at the end of the day. And you can piss off. Woo! That was a lot. You didn't see it, but I drank a lot in between takes. I'm very tired. I got off work and I had to record this, and now I have to edit it. It's like 60 minutes of footage. I'm definitely gonna cut down. I have to cut it down. I'm gonna find a way to cut this down because, good God, I don't want to be sitting here for an hour talking. But if you made it, I thank you. Once again, it is Malcolm. That's me. Subscription button up here. Swoop's Swoop's channel is down here. My most recent video over there. Without further ado, I wish you well. I wish you good health. And I will definitely see you again next time.